A little bit. We're alive. Like I said, slightly new format. Hey guys, I am Crescent. My guest co-host tonight is Chavez.
Yo, what's going on?
So if you are tuning in for the first time, this is the Madness Collective. Look, we do our best to make sense of these crazy ass headlines. We were going a couple times a week, but we did at that.
Yeah.
A little too much to keep up with. So yeah, we just now kind of down to once a week. And honestly, I'm just really trying to get us through the election. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. But yeah, I know I got stuff I want to get off my chest, stuff I want to share. Y'all got stuff. So, hey, drop it in the chat. Love the engagement. So tonight, the head bad boy might get life. He might get life. Puffy could get life. Maybe. It's a possibility. It's on the table. Okay. So allegedly, there was a second attempt to shoot at Trump. Allegedly. Also, speaking of Trump, his abortion ban is equaling death for women. And we knew that. We knew that was going to happen. And now there is official proof. A woman has died as a result of the Trump abortion bans. So thank you, conservatives on the court. Thank you, Trump. And then, speaking of these fools, JD Vance lied about Springfield. He lied about Springfield. He was told that's not a thing that's happening. Shut it down. He didn't shut it down. Didn't give a fuck. Kept going with it. And then you had your boy at the debate talking about they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. And now Springfield is like,
yo.
It is straight up chaos.
Right.
What'd you say, Chavez?
I said, no, that's just hilarious.
Dude, I mean, it's twofold, and we'll get into it, but obviously the jokes and the memes and the dances on social media, but then also Springfield was literally upside down right now. So
yep.
Hi Karen, what's up Danielle? Hi Allison, what's up y'all? Hey. Okay, so tonight, but before we get to Puffy, we're gonna get to Puffy. Trust. It's so wild. Anyway, let me focus. I saw the story last week. Mm-hmm. There was a woman. This happened in Malaysia, just so we're clear. Okay. Put that out there first. This happened in Malaysia. There was a woman jogging, and she got attacked by 8 otters.
8 otters. Yes, I did. I saw that. Yeah.
And then the picture's wild. I'm gonna just warn y'all right now because the picture of her. This is what she looked like. Otters did that.
Yeah.
And wait, and there's a picture of the otters. I'm sorry. Like a fucking gang. It's a gang.
A gang of otters.
Dude. So preliminary investigations found that a group of otters had entered the recreation center to look for food in this area. And there's indeed a population of wild otters near the park. And we also see a change in the behavior when the community feeds them. This is why they tell people don't feed wild animals.
Exactly.
Like, don't do that. To prevent further attacks, officials plan to reinforce the fence around the park and monitor the area to ensure none of the critters get in. Okay. This is not the first time something like this happened. In 2021, a Singapore resident was also attacked by a gang of otters.
This is like, an ongoing thing.
I mean, in that instance, I read it quickly. There was a guy jogging who happened to kind of jog past a group of them, which ordinarily would not have been in that space. Mm-hmm. And so the jogger startled him. And so they went after him and he got away, but the other dude was nearby. And so they turned their anger.
You know what? That's just good. You know what? That's actually good to know, because if I ever happen to see an otter or two or more, I will make sure to go in the opposite direction.
That is a very smart call.
I will, if I happen to have a bag on me, I will clutch my bag tightly and then cross over to the other side of the road if I happen to see 2 or more otters hanging out.
Yeah, that sounds like a wise decision. Karen said, but otters are so cute. Girl, bye. They sound dangerous.
Okay, Karen, go ahead. Find it. Hey, F around and find out how cute those otters are.
Oh, and the dude in Singapore, he's reportedly bit 26 times in 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, B. Nah, I'm good. I'm so good on otters. Nope. Nope. All right, Puffy. So, sorry, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where like Chavez. This is the man of our formative years musically. Like we grew up with Bad Boy, right? Like Harlem Shake, you doing it, right? Like,
You know what? It to be honest with you, it all makes sense because if we just look at how uh boisterous, just how it kind of, I mean, he's yelling and just always in the mix. And come on, a lot of us have heard, a lot of us we've heard the stories, we've heard the rumors for years. So for it to finally come to a head, um, you gotta, at some point you gotta pay the piper.
you do. You absolutely do. And obviously when we were, again in our formative years,
Allegedly.
Allegedly, fair,
Yes,
allegedly. We didn't know what was going on. But like you said, people in the mix, there have been rumors for a long time. And when Cassie's charge, when her stuff dropped, that was last fall, wasn't it? I think.
So yeah.
Yeah. So people, were telling stories then, like from him and about him in college and a girlfriend that he had there and how that seemed to be a physically abusive situation or a minimum verbally abusive. And then there was another time, although recently, and I don't know, again, I didn't check the source. Somebody said Puffy came from him being like huffing and puffing when he got angry. Maybe. So, so yeah, so he has been, he's in custody. He's now been denied bail twice.
Yeah.
The lawyer is saying they want to go for a speedy trial to actually try and get him out sooner. So they feeling real confident on the defense side.
Well, I mean, as well as I know, I worked State Department of Corrections in Illinois for about 6 years back in the day, back in my Chicago days. I had friends who worked for the city, county, state, and the feds. And when the feds show themselves, they usually have you. It's rare for them to come up and say, "Hey, guy, how you doing? Yeah, we're about to take you in custody real quick." And there's a likelihood that we may not have you. That's typically not what happens with the feds. Usually, when the feds show up, that's where you start thinking like, "Oh shit, yeah, what do I need to say to get out of this situation?"
Okay, that, and then oh shoes, I don't know if there's an echo or not. So that element, this is also the same court or same feds that took out I think, did they get Epstein? I think they got Weinstein. Fetty Wap, I don't know why we would care about him, but he went down like this. They're used to prosecuting high level individuals, right? Yeah. So to your point, they're not moving forward unless they are really confident about their case, right? So he is in MDC Brooklyn, which is under investigation for having inhumane conditions. I think they're actually trying to get him moved to Jersey. Okay. He was denied bail today again because he said the government has proven that the defendant is a danger. Bail package is insufficient even on flight of risk, right? Because I mean, he was putting up the $50 million, like, his house is worth as collateral, surrendering passports of himself, the family. Like, I mean, this is what the prosecution, the defense was like, look, this is what we'll put up toward bail. And both judges were like, nah, B, no. So allegations that filmed people having sex to blackmail them. He drugged victims, used tapes to extort them as well. There was that, and they keep referencing the video that we eventually saw of Cassie running down the hallway. And they're saying that what preceded that was allegedly Diddy trying to get her to have sex with an escort.
Yeah.
Also, prosecutor says that the victims' heads allegedly were slammed into car windows in order to coerce them into participating.
Little Suge Knight. Okay, I see him. Little Suge Knight action. Okay.
Said that allegedly the other reason why they don't want to let him out on bail is because he might reach out to people to get them to shut it down. So one of the singers, Kalani, I don't know, maybe Kalenna. I think, was she part of Danity Kane? So I know one of the singers came forward recently and said, has allegations, and she was like, "Nah, basically, I'm good. You had your experience, I had mine."
Right.
And they noted though that he called her 128 times.
That's a lot of. That amount of calling is just about as excessive as having 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. I didn't calling someone 128 times is just as excessive as having 1,000 bottles.
that part. So, and so if I have this timeline correct, the one singer was like, he was a problem. This is a problem. These are allegations. She hadn't said anything. And then after the phone call 128 times, she was like, yeah, not me. So they don't want to let him out to talk to people, understandably.
I mean, if somebody called me 128 times, I'd probably back off too. Like, yeah, I'm good, y'all, because I don't want that 129th call. Like, I'm kind of worn out on, calls. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Danielle, Kalani was Dirty Money and on Love and Hip Hop. Thank you. I was like, yeah, I didn't think she was Danity Kane. I had the D in my head. That's what was throwing me off. Thank you.
Hey, take it easy, Kirsten.
Was it Aubrey Day that was in Danity Kane? If Danielle's watching, Danielle will know. And she was the one, though, I do know that she from like last 20 years was like, he's a terrible human being, and y'all will see. So she's been on that, to her credit. So you mentioned baby oil. He is accused of using his power and prestige to induce female victims and male sex workers into drugged up, elaborately produced sexual performances that were dubbed freak-offs that he arranged, participated in it, often recorded. The events would sometimes last for days. So can I tell you, when all this is breaking, MSNBC is on in the background. It's early in the morning. And I'm hearing MSNBC people use the word freak off. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. That can be a very interesting thing that early in the morning, I was like, it's kind of too early to be hearing freak off. Yeah.
Out of their mouths.
Yeah, let me get like a little bit later into the morning, like closer to like maybe noon. Let me get to the noon, 1 o'clock hour. My mind is prepared to hear stuff like that, but early in the morning, nah.
And I'm not saying it was Maury and Joe them because I was too late to catch them, but that crew of people talking about freak offs was very just unsettling. I'm gonna just say that right there. Yeah. So, and that's, as you mentioned, when they raided the house, there was 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I think they said in the 2 homes that they raided, I think in total they were saying. I mean, even if it was broken up, let's just say it was broken up to like 250 in the smaller home and 750 in the other home, maybe 301 and 700. Like, no matter how it's broken up, 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant is excessive, bro. I mean, it just really is excessive.
So reading the indictment, and I read it, I skimmed it. I read it kind of quickly because I knew I was going to be grossed out. But like, you had the lube on hand, you had IV fluids because people were passing out, and you were like giving them IV, like hooking them up with an IV to get them going again, right? Like, you had a whole team setting shit up, ready to clean up because what kind of mess you motherfuckers left.
Oh man,
like,
it's just nothing about it sounds sexy though. I mean, nothing about it sounds sexy, sounds really inviting. I mean, it just sounds like forced, animalistic, primal.
Sociopathic is one of the words you're looking for.
You know what? You're right.
That's one of the descriptors you're looking for. Yeah. So, and we kind of said this. The indictment alleges that he coerced and abused women for years with the help of a network of associates and employees while using blackmail and violent acts, including kidnapping, arson, and physical beatings to keep victims from speaking out. So he is officially charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, and prostitution.
That racketeering right there. It's like, listen, who all is about to come out like
this enterprise? Who all in the enterprise? That was what you're trying to get at. Oh shit! I meant to play his video before I started talking about Puffy. It's okay. I'm gonna do it afterward. It still works.
Yeah.
But right, Karen. Okay, so and Shabazz, curious what you think, because this was I've been saying the last today's Wednesday, last day and a half, 2 days. It wasn't clear to me why he was sticking around. Like when they raided the cribs, I was like, why didn't you dip then?
You said so. Like, you're saying why he didn't pull a Russell Simmons?
Yeah, that's what Karen. Yeah, Karen's like, I'm actually surprised he didn't pull a Russell Simmons and go to Bali. So, and I'm like, yeah, why not? But now, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, because now that I see where the defense is about to go with it, I'm like, oh, you and your team actually think you can get out of this. So now it's a little more clear, because I'm like, dude, you kept video, like you had it in your possession, right? Like that's part of what they've scooped up with these raids.
Yeah.
Why not to say that I would have wanted to help a sociopath figure out how to be better at being a sociopath, but why is that shit in your house? Like, sorry, I guess easily accessible. So when you needed to blackmail, extort somebody.
Hey, listen, he freaky like that. Sometimes he might want to pop on a video, watch what popped off back in the day or whatever. It you know what? It really is sad, because like even watching that video with Cassie, man, like. That right there was like, honestly, it was heartbreaking. Listen,
it is. It truly is.
I've never, how sometimes you fight with your sisters or your cousins and stuff like that. Like I've never even laid a hand on like a cousin, let alone somebody that I've dated. And it's like watching that, like watching someone who it's like he's a super bully, because it's like he knows that physically he has an advantage on her, and she's not about to fight back. And here's the problem, though, bro. You better be in protective custody, bro, because I'm gonna tell you like this: when it comes down to the prison system, women and children, the most immoral person in prison still is like, yo, you did something to a woman or a kid.
Yeah, no, I've heard about prison justice in that regards. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the defense is going with, and again, just to stay in that space for a second of like him not leaving. And Danielle did ask, does Russell have criminal charges against him though, or civil? I don't know. For some, maybe civil, but I think he is in Bali though, because they can't easily get him up out of Bali. So, but here's the defense. The defense is saying, Puffy is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the Black community. They continue, he is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal. To his credit, he has been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Said he's an innocent man with nothing to hide. What they're trying to get at is, these charges being brought against him stem from nothing more than a consensual but strained relationship due to infidelity. So they're alleging that Cassie had cheated on him, like it was a toxic relationship, which is not against the law, as it's written. So basically they're kind of like, he's a sex freak, but he's not a criminal.
Well, I mean, criminality will be based on whether or not you violated someone or someone felt violated, and that's really what it boils down to. The other thing that I've thought about for years now. I mean, I've even mentioned this, and I've even said this like in other settings. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, I really wonder what happened to Kim.
Well, so that's what other people have been saying is like, are we going to really look into that? Are we going to open that back up and just check out what really happened to her? And if there is a manuscript somewhere, a book that she, because allegedly she was working on a book, and wasn't clear exactly what was going to be in it. So, yeah, I'm it's sad. So this is what I meant to play before. So there's been a bunch of, again, you know how the internet does. And somebody was like, I need Cat Williams to close the portal that he opened at the top of the year. So in case y'all don't remember, here's some of the commentary from Kat in his Shannon Sharpe interview.
It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I didn't have another one of these.
Amen.
Sorry. I don't want to laugh at the rest of this.
I kind of.
So I forgot the details. Club Shay Shay. I forgot the details of, because Kat said a lot. It was 2.5, almost 3 hour fucking interview, right?
That interview, out of all of Shannon's interviews, that interview has almost 80 million views.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know if Shannon has any other. He may have some that's over 10 million, but I know he don't have any other that's over 20 million. Yeah, I mean, well, now as we're in the age, for those who are familiar, we're in the age of Aquarius, and it's like the age of Aquarius really is about things being unveiled, truth coming out. I forgot what was the group that sang that song back in the 60s or 70s? The Dawn of the Age of Aquarius.
Oh yes, yeah,
And that's what we're in right now. So I mean, all of us, even myself, it's like, yo, anything that you may have in the darkness will come to light.
Something to think about. Jesus. Okay, so moving on to the horrible, really tragic abortion story. So her name is Amber Thurman. She was in Georgia, and all of this is a result of Trump's abortion ban, and I'm going to call it Trump's abortion ban. That's what Vice President Harris called it.
That's what everyone should call it.
And as it is, yeah, right. He put those judges on the Supreme Court, knowing that that's what the plan was going to be for them to do, is overturn Roe v. Wade. Here we are. So she was 28 years old, a medical assistant. She was actually planning to go to nursing school. She had a 6-year-old son who's loving, amazing relationship with. And not that it matters, but she was pregnant with twins. It was like, I can't do all that. I got a 6-year-old son. I'm just getting on my feet. I'm planning to go to nursing school. But again, doesn't fucking matter. It's her body, her choice, right? So she was just past 6 weeks when the Georgia law went into effect. Okay. So again, usually at 6 weeks, women don't even know they're pregnant. That all of this is insane, but that's just one level of the insanity, is this whole 6 weeks. You may not even know. Okay. So if y'all will indulge me, because I read the ProPublica article yesterday and I wanted to cry. So because they outlined exactly how everything happened, so I'm gonna try and do my best to sort of recap it, but we kind of doing what we want to do tonight, so I'm gonna do this. So getting to the clinic, she had to go to a clinic in North Carolina because Georgia is on some bullshit. So getting to the clinic requires scheduling a day off from work, finding a babysitter, making up an excuse to borrow a relative's car, walking through a crowd of anti-abortion activists, right? Protesters, sorry. So she got there late because there was traffic. And because there's so many women at this clinic, they couldn't hold her slot because they're inundated because Georgia is on some like slavery shit. Okay. Right. So North Carolina was like, we have to reschedule you. She's like, I can't reschedule. I already had to go through all these hoops to get here. So they're like, okay, bet. So we're going to give you these abortion pills. And they took her through a counseling session, made sure she understood. And they said, if complications happen, go to the hospital. She's like, bet. So just as a note, deaths due to complications from abortion pills are very rare. Out of nearly 6 million women who've taken them since 2000, there have been 32 deaths through as far as from 2000 to 2022. Okay. So of those, 11 patients developed sepsis. The remaining cases involve intentional or accidental drug overdoses, suicide, homicide, right? So not even really potentially directly connected to the abortion meds. Right. Just keep that in mind. right? So she had gone with her girl, or she was, she was talking to her friend. They spoke every day that week. At first, she only had some cramping, but then after she took the second pill, the pain increased and the blood was starting to soak through more than one pad per hour. Had she lived nearby, she would have went to the clinic in North Carolina, but that was 4 hours away. Okay. So the evening of August 18th, this is in 2022, she vomited blood and passed out at home. Mm-hmm. Her boyfriend called for an ambulance, and she arrived at the hospital at 6:51 p.m. that night. Within the first few hours at the hospital, which is staffed with an OB at all hours, they should have realized that she was in danger. Basically, as soon as she got there. Her lower abdomen was tender, her white blood cell count was critically high, and her blood pressure was low. At one point, she got up to go to the bathroom. She fainted again and hit her head. Doctors noted a foul odor during her pelvic exam, and an ultrasound showed possible tissue in her uterus. The standard treatment of sepsis is to start antibiotics and immediately seek and remove the source of the infection. It's called a DNC. This is what you do. Okay. So, that's usually one of the common ways to address this. Right. So for a septic abortion, that would include removing any remaining tissue from the uterus, DNC. It's a fairly common minor surgical procedure. That's from the hospital's own policies. Okay. Fairly common minor surgical procedure, which is used after a miscarriage to remove fetal tissue. So remember, she got there like 6:51. So after assessing her at 9:30, they started her on antibiotics and an IV drip. The OB maybe was like, well, maybe we'll do a DNC the next day. That didn't happen. So the next morning, they diagnosed acute severe sepsis. By 5:14 a.m., she was breathing rapidly and at risk of bleeding out. Even 5 liters of IV fluid had not moved her blood pressure out of the danger zone. So they gave her more antibiotics. Instead of performing the DNC, they continued to gather information and dispense medicine. They even tested her. They tested her for sexually transmitted fucking diseases and pneumonia. What the fuck was that supposed to do? Y'all know why? Y'all know what the issue is, but y'all out here trying to check and see if she got pneumonia and STDs. I cannot. So they placed her on another med that's a powerful blood pressure support that actually was not going to do anything to treat the infection, and it was also going to pose a new threat. This type of medication could constrict blood flow so much that patients could need an amputation once stabilized. Okay, so at 6:45 a.m., her blood pressure continued to dip, and she was taken to ICU. At 7:14 a.m., they discussed initiating a DNC, but it still didn't happen. 2 hours later, the lab work indicated her organs were failing. At 12:05 p.m., more than 17 hours after she had arrived, a doctor who specializes in intensive care notified the OBGYN that her condition was deteriorating. She was finally taken to an operating room at 2 p.m. By then, the situation was so fucked up, the doctor started with open abdominal surgery. They found that her bowel needed to be removed, but it was too risky to operate because there was not enough blood flowing to the area. A possible complication from the blood pressure medication.
Right.
They performed a DNC finally, but they also immediately continued with a hysterectomy because it's just everything is chaos in there right now. During surgery, her heart stopped.
Yep.
So her case is the first official one, but there are definitely more. This was a committee, state medical committee, deemed her death preventable. Mm-hmm. And committees like the one in Georgia that are set up in each state, but they often operate with a 2-year lag behind the cases they examine. So now that means experts are now beginning to fully get clarity on the deaths that took place after Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Yeah. So basically, she was tortured she was tortured by the medical industry. What, 15 hours?
17.
17 hours. 17 hours of torture.
Ooh.
Really what it is, it was torture.
Like reading that article yesterday, like I started tearing up. This woman should be alive. She should still be playing with her son. She should be starting nursing school. She should be in nursing school. But y'all call yourselves pro-life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about it is until like we wake up. When I say we, I'm not just talking about black people because I know a lot of times we say we talk about we, capital W E. But until we, the people, start really understanding that we have to start supporting things that really truly support us, like our best interest. Like right now, to be 100% honest with you, shouldn't be it should be a very small percentage of women who will vote the other side purely because of what's going on. You know, I mean, it really should be overwhelmingly that most women are going to vote um, on the left in regards to who they're going to vote for. They're going to go for Kamala. You know, even when it comes, I mean, I'm just really, I'm not going to say it's amazing to me because we watched this play out for so long right now. People basically voting against their best interest.
Completely.
Purely because either it's culture or it's historically, you know, my grandfather was this, whether on either side. It's like, but which side is actually the side that's doing the most damage? And that's really what you have to look at.
That's what you should look at. That's the rational, logical approach. Taking 2 minutes to take yourself outside the bubble that you're in, right? Like take a beat, read, turn off Fox News, check another source, read something else. But here's what happens when they are confronted with facts, they deny them. Like some of the posts fake news, the comments that I saw, they're like, no, the doctor should have treated her. They messed up. The doctors didn't do what they should have done because they were scared about getting sued because the law is not clear.
Yeah.
Right. But they're like, that's not what happened. She took abortion pills. Like, right. Come, excuse. And at the bottom of it for me is none of your fucking business. This is between a woman and her doctor. The doctor should be making the call, not you over there and your religious cult, handmade sale bullshit. Like, stay out of this. This is about control, and y'all don't care, right? Like y'all don't care that women are dying. Could give a fuck. Don't care. So to your point, Chavez, the fact that the election is still at least seemingly as close as it is, it's terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah.
So also in that whole voting against your interest, the one thing I did see today is that the Teamsters as a whole are not going to endorse Kamala, but individual what are the locals are coming out like they're like, okay, I don't know what you on at the top of the game, but
on the national level, I hear what y'all talking about, but locally, this is what we about.
Yeah, and the thing is, and it was the Biden administration, and she was the deciding vote that got the Teamsters, I think, their pension, their union money, whatever, right? They made their lives better. But as a national organization, you're like, yeah, we're not gonna endorse her. Okay, voting against your interests. Like the racism is so strong, even though she helped hook us up. Okay, all right, got it. So speaking of the crazy, on Sunday, Trump tweeted out, "I hate Taylor Swift."
He's such a child. It's you know, he really is. He's a petulant child, and it's just interesting, you know.
Was it? Oh, man, maybe it was Jimmy Kimmel. He acted out how he saw all of that play out that day. He was like, I'm sure he saw the numbers that, you know, from when Taylor was like, I endorse Kamala, and the number of people who went to the voter registration site and the number of people who registered to vote. Like, I think the last number I saw was 400,000 plus or something. Astronomical numbers, right? And so they're like, yeah, he saw it, lost his mind, picked up his phone, typed, I hate Taylor Swift. Like he goes through this whole thing. And to your point, you're like, you're a child, but not even. Dementia, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that's going through your head. But please go sit down someplace and stop torturing us. Anyway, so that was Sunday. The other thing that happens on Sunday, a couple more things. JD Vance was on CNN and he said that he's fine with creating stories if that will get your attention.
Right.
He said that he's out his own mouth. He was like, yeah, if I got to create stories to get you to pay attention, I'll do it. Okay, so the Springfield situation. Right. Then And I don't know what I was doing, but I heard something assassination attempt something. I was like, wait, what? I was like, what? Say what now? So this guy Ryan, he had been camped out in this wooded area with a loaded rifle near the golf course for about 12 hours before he was spotted. I mean, that's what y'all know. He could have been there longer. I don't know. There was a Secret Service agent that was walking the perimeter and saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of a tree line. Trump was on the fifth fairway. He was not in old boy's line of sight.
Right.
And he never fired his weapon.
Right.
Secret Service agent engaged a suspect. Sure, because it looks suspicious. It looks crazy.
I mean, hey, I think it does. Yeah, it looks a little bit out of place here. This whole situation looks a little bit out of place.
Just a touch. Okay. So the FBI confirmed it is investigating an apparent attempted assassination of Trump on Sunday, but he has not been charged with trying to kill him currently. Okay. So he Ryan has self-published a book. He did vote for Trump in 2016. And he said he came to regret it after Trump made what he called a tremendous blunder in 2018 and withdrew the U.S. from the Iran nuclear deal. And I quote, he added that Trump ended up being brainless, but I am man enough to say that I misjudged and made a terrible mistake. And to Iran, I apologize. And I quote, you are free to assassinate Trump as well as me for that error in judgment, for the dismantling of that deal. He then added, no one here in the U.S. seems to have the balls to put natural selection to work or even unnatural selection.
Right.
I mean, clearly he might be a little crazy, but there's elements of valid points.
There's elements of sanity there. There is definitely some sanity in there. I mean,
there's some points that arguably he made. Okay.
Yeah.
Arguably.
I agree.
So
I concur.
Thank you. Another thing that's noteworthy about this is the U.S. attorney that's prosecuting Ryan is of Haitian descent.
Yeah.
He
I know. I've been really. I mean, it's been a lot of years. I'm talking YEERS that I've been wanting to go to Haitian. Because Haitian is like that place that I've really been wanting to go for a very long time. I'm glad JD Vance brought up Haitian, and because I haven't been to Haitian, and that's just one of those places that I really want to go. I want to go to Haitian. I really do.
So
I always wanted to go. It just seems Haitian seems like a magical place.
I agree. Haitian does seem like a magical place, right? Like Shangri-La. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like a utopia,
basically.
Yeah.
Now, Haiti.
Yeah, I have no desire to go to Haiti. No desire to go to Haiti.
Right. No, but yes, right. Haitian, sure.
Yeah.
What's happening right now are the Haitian immigrants from Haiti are being terrorized in Springfield because JD Vance and Trump are, I think we used the word sociopaths earlier about Diddy. I'm going to apply it to them. It's sociopathic behavior. So Wall Street Journal, not a liberal publication, okay? They are known for being a conservative rag, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There's an article that came out either today or yesterday that was like, yo, hey. So he was told, this is not a thing, bruh. There's no Haitian immigrants are eating pets. It's not happening. He moved forward with it anyway.
I mean, it might be 3 or 4. Maybe 2 or 3, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 1 or 2, but not in the massive way that he is. Maybe 1 or 2. I'm just saying it could be. But
okay, Shabbat. So one of the stories that got hunted down was an American Black woman in another part of Ohio, I think Canton, Ohio, did get into some type of crazy situation with a cat. Okay, it's not entirely clear what happened, but not good. Okay, right? But she's not Haitian and she's not in Springfield.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Be clear.
Right.
Also, there was I think a man with some dead geese in his hand, but I think he was removing those carcasses.
Okay.
Wherever they have been located, and also apparently geese are kind of like these otters. You just don't roll up on them like that because apparently geese are like mean.
Oh, okay.
So ain't nobody rolling up on the geese to try and eat it. Okay, not a lot of geese. Not that's not going down, right?
Right.
The woman the neighbor who said it was her daughter's friend's cousin's uncle, whatever. The original story, she apologized because she was the one who did the Facebook post talking about my neighbor told me this, this, and this. She has since apologized. I am so sorry. I didn't know this was going to go there. The woman whose cat was missing, Miss Sassy, cat's name.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
She has since rocking her Trump hat and Trump t-shirt or Trump paraphernalia. She has since been like, I found my cat. Cat was in the basement. It was like a day later. My cat's fine.
Right.
I didn't mean for all this to jump off. Okay.
Yeah.
I
did think she may have mentioned, like, I did think that my cat was eaten by a Haitian immigrant, but because I found the cat, I didn't realize that my cat was not eaten by a Haitian immigrant. And see, I take high offense to that too, because I've had people tell me, like, they think that I'm Haitian. I've had people look at me, say, "Oh, you're Haitian."
So
most of the time it's Ghanaian, but I do get the Haitian sometimes.
But Shabazz, you bring up a very good point, right? Because non-Black people don't know if you Haitian, if you Black, if American Black, Jamaican, Londoner.
No idea.
There's no differentiation. So if you had some melanin in your skin and you happen to be in Springfield, Ohio, use a target. Yeah. Hey, Shabazz, maybe you have snatched up somebody's Fifi. Maybe you rolling down the street, snatching people's pets, putting them in the back of your pickup truck, and then hitting up the barbecue. I don't know.
I just might pick up people's cute little animals, whether it be a dog or cat, and just like act like I'm rubbing it. But as I'm rubbing it, I just slowly start to go to bite it. Just slowly, just try to catch them off guard. Just slowly, like, I could do that.
But on the seriousness of it, that city has been turned upside down.
Yeah, it is. It's sad.
There's they've had bomb threats, they've had shootings that's led to closure of city buildings and schools. Proud Boys, Nazis, and the KKK have descended, are just like out in the streets. They had, I think the head of the NAACP was on MSNBC right before we went live. And she said, they're not even wearing masks. Well, they don't care.
What I'm hoping people really understand the severity and the seriousness of what we have going on in this country right now. Because like when Obama won that first time, and a lot of people were celebrating, and everybody was so like really happy. And I told some of my friends, I said, look, I get celebrating right now. I said, celebrate that man getting out of office, because right now, times are going to be extremely tough for him. So even right now, I'm telling people, like, either way it goes, whomever wins, it's going to be bad.
Oh no, it's definitely going to be bad. Absolutely.
Because
in either direction, you're right. I'm hoping there's direction at least where we keep the White House, but
yeah. Either direction, it's going to be bad out here on these streets, and I really don't know if people really understand. Like,
I don't think they do.
Listen, January 6th for me, that let me know where we are right now.
You better say it.
January 6th let me know where we are and how serious this thing is. So come November, either way it goes, you're going to have to keep your head on swivel. Either way, you have to keep your head on swivel.
Look, and what I was saying about, if you're melanated and you're in Springfield, actually doesn't matter, right? Because that's the point. Demonize the immigrants, but you're demonizing the Haitian immigrants deliberately, right?
Right.
So that anywhere in the country, you see someone who's melanated, hey, maybe you're an immigrant.
Yep.
Maybe, yeah, I get to attack you. So to your point, it's bad. Your head should be on the swivel right now. Right? I mean, I've been at home. I was in Indiana for a minute and I wore my Kamala 47 shirt the day of the debate and I hesitated. And I'm from South Bend. It's a liberal city, but it's still Indiana.
Well, we know what Indiana is, though. We know.
Okay. Okay. So the fact that I even paused and I had it all day and I was moving around the city, nobody said anything to me, but I was on guard. Like I was legitimately thinking like, okay, if anything, I thought somebody was going to say something. I wasn't worried about being attacked, but that's how we live now.
Well, what we really have to, I mean, the threat, the level of danger and threat of bodily harm and violence is so much greater from one side to the other side than it is the other way back.
Yes. Yeah.
So with that being said, I know a lot of people, want to be able to move freely, as you should be able to move freely. Once again, be aware.
Oh, you have to. You have to be aware. Oh, and I just want to add, even the Republican governor of Ohio has been like, dude, this is not a thing that's happening. Y'all need to calm this down. The mayor of Springfield told Trump, don't bring your ass here. respectfully, because Trump has said he's planning to come visit Springfield. Don't come here.
Did you see the interview with what's the guy's name? Miles? Is it Miles Taylor?
I don't think so. No.
You know what I'm talking about, though. He was a former. He was on the administration. He was the one that was kind of incognito. I forgot what the term was, but he was the one that was putting out information initially and wasn't letting people know who he was. And then finally he came out. Miles Taylor. I think it's Miles Taylor. And he just did an interview where he said, I can't remember what he said, but he basically said the former prez had no plan. He either called him an imbecile or an idiot.
The national security expert.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was just basically just breaking it. He's been the one that's been the most vocal out of everyone who was on the administration. I can't remember, but it was like he was like the unknown. He was that unknown person that was putting the info out. I can't remember what they called him.
Oh yeah, he wrote the anonymous op-ed for the New York Times.
That was it. He was anonymous.
Yeah, he was the whistleblower dude. Well, yeah, in that window of time to 2023, absolutely, right? What's killing me is now you have generals, you have people who served in his administration who are like, we are with Kamala. Dick Cheney, right? And I know, like, that era of Republicans is not, look, that ain't your mama's Republicans party, okay? Like, it is a very different animal at this juncture. But you have the people who have said he's an imbecile. He doesn't have a plan. Like, he's an idiot, legitimately. There is no thought process. He didn't read briefings. They had to be put in damn near comics strip form.
Listen, I mean, if you can't formulate a proper sentence, like you cannot. I would be hard. I think we would be hard pressed to find someone who came from the Wharton School of Business cannot properly formulate a sentence. I love how he throws that out there. I went to the Wharton School of Business, but I'm like, bro, you can't even formulate a proper sentence.
Chavez, like, okay, so there's that, right? There to me, it is his entire existence, the nonsensical words coming out of his mouth, to your point, right? What happened on his watch when he was in the White House? Those cats were like the economy. He inherited Obama's economy. He didn't put that together. And then COVID happened. COVID happened on his watch because he dismantled the team that investigates infectious diseases. This happened because of him. The economy craters. So that is the economy that Biden got. Okay, who has been working 24/7 to pull us out of that?
Well, what a lot of people don't realize is within the first 2 years of a presidency, as you mentioned before, within the first 2 years of a new president, he's basically living off of the wave of the former president.
Correct.
Once all of his policies and stuff come into place and the things and the changes that they want to make, that second, those last 2 years, that's when you're able to tell, like, oh, okay, the decisions you made from a business standpoint, that's your legacy, those last 2 years. First 2 years, you're living off of the person in front of you.
So again, this is if you care to understand how all this works, then you know this. If you don't care to understand how it works, then you just yell out talking points that MAGA, thank you, Karen, says, right? And at this juncture, regardless of that, though, well, if you are supporting Orange Hitler and his lying puppet, JD Vance, what do we, how, what, there's no, I don't actually need a relationship with you. Like we don't have a lot to discuss because I'm in danger and the people I love and people who look like me, and it's not just me and mine. So many people, so many Americans are in danger if he goes back.
The way I look at it is like this, and I know people because I know some conservative, I know some hard conservative people, and I'm talking about not just the brothers and the sisters. I'm talking about other people. And I look at it like this. It's just like it's kind of like a cult. It's like Jim Jones, right?
Yeah.
And you had a bunch of people who believed in this man because he was charismatic, and these people needed something to believe in. And it was, and I'm sure, I'm not saying everybody in that was dumb. I'm sure there was some highly intelligent.
Yeah.
It's like people, for whatever reason, followed this man. And even with the things that most of us can look at and say, hey, it's crazy, you got all these people to step on that.
But here's the thing, Chavez, not for whatever reason, because there's at this point been a lot of analysis on this, right?
Yes.
So there's the element of he hates who I hate.
Yes.
Right. There's also the I don't feel like anyone was actually representing my interests, right? Like I felt ignored. He speaks like I speak. Okay. Like, right. He says it like it is. Mm-hmm. He ain't scared of nobody, right? Like that is appealing. Then you got the 1%. The 1% actually are the only ones that I actually can understand. Yes. Right.
It's all money for them.
Yeah, because they're like, I don't give a fuck what he says.
But they don't understand is he would single-handedly destroy the economy. It's like your money won't matter if you get somebody in who's going to make decisions that will destroy the country financially.
So I 100% agree. But think about it. Think about who made money during COVID. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, right? Like they came up because they can capitalize on whatever the change in the situation is, right? And but I agree with you, that can only last you so long.
because the people that need to purchase your stuff have to be thriving. So once again, if you look at him from one perspective, and then you look at how kind of, no disrespect, but how schizophrenic that he kind of is, how bipolar he is when it comes down to him making decisions, and how right now he's going to place nothing but yes people in right now. It won't happen like it happened last time. No. Now you got this person who's been touting himself as this amazing business person for all these years, making decisions that will single-handedly end up like Trump Steaks or Trump the Game, or you know what I'm saying, Trump casinos. Like people and they're looking at it and they're saying, hey, I can make all this money, but you can't make money if the economy is destroyed.
Well, also there, and I'm going to say this again. I do think from their perspective, like, oh, then fine, I'll go to my second or third home in another country, right? Like, I'm gonna just leave y'all to y'all. Good luck, right? Like, right. At the end of the day, they're gonna be fine no matter what. Sadly, right? Yep. And so there's that. There's also, honestly, Chavez, it is frightening. It is straight up frightening, right? Like, because I still just boil it down to the level of racism, the level of sexism,
and what
I don't care. I don't care if it all burns down to the ground, right? Because that's the other thing too. Those who I do feel like have some intelligence, or who are kind of like, oh no, we'll survive another 4 years. No, we actually may not, and it's entirely possible we won't. That's what I was trying to get at, is people who think it'll just be something to like get through.
And
It
who's
will be
to
the
say,
end of America as we know it.
and who's to say, like, at the end of it, he'll hand it over? You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. No, that's what I mean. Like this everything that we've all been living in what the America that we know, it's done.
Trust and believe there were a whole lot of Germans who didn't think that it was going to get as bad
I know.
as it got. You know, and I'm sure there are a whole lot of Italians who didn't think that it wasn't going to get as bad as it got. So we have history to really show us what could potentially happen. It's like,
but that's if you're paying attention to history. So if you want information is accessible to you, and yet, I just, there's just so.
That's all you can say. That's all you really can say. And on your T-shirt, you should just get "and yet."
And
dot. That's really it. And yet, dot. Say no more. Say less.
I am. So actually, another thing that happened in Ohio that was actually funny and not like horrible, but kind of not good either. Anyway, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm tired. I'm about to wrap us up. Here's the headline: an 8-year-old girl drove an SUV on a solo run to Target. So she went missing like Sunday morning, and her family was like trying to figure out where she went. And police simultaneously got like a call when family realized she was not in the house. And they were like, oh, we just heard about a little girl who's at Target by herself. Yeah. Drove the car to Target. It was about a 20-25 minute drive. She's 8. Right. She's 8. She got in there. One article I saw said she actually bought some stuff, spent $400. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but by the time the police got to her, she was sitting in the Starbucks drinking a Frappuccino.
Listen, she had a Frappuccino, right? Sipping on that. She had her pull-out radio sitting on the table. She had her beeper like on her and her cell phone in her hand. Like she knew. Kids. I remember when I was a kid. I remember really watching my dad and knowing that you stick the key in the ignition and then you have to step on this thing and you have to pull. Like they watch.
They watch. And I will say, kids these days, smart, very smart.
Yeah. They're on another level.
They really are.
They're on another level.
Apparently she did hit a mailbox, so driving skills could probably be a little bit better.
Yeah, she needs to work on that. Maybe a little bit of driver's ed. I don't know. Maybe they need to take on a couple more laps around the block. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what else I thought about?
I'm a Karen. Shorty was standing on business. She was standing on business. Like
for real. Because and that's what I was about to say is Target has that effect on people, like all ages. I gotta get to Target.
Like sometimes I go up there. What's the lemonade that the little black girl got? Sometimes I'll just pop up in Target just to buy one of those. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what? I'm going. Let me get that young lemonade.
Honestly, it is a happy place for a lot of people. Yeah. Clearly, this 8-year-old. I mean, it's one of my happy places.
Right.
I end up spending too much money in that. Right. But I like it. So that's one positive story that's coming out of Ohio. Positive. She survived. She's good. Police are like, she's too young to charge with a crime. So we just, keep her from driving. How about that?
Yeah.
So that's that. So I don't know if there's gonna be a show next Wednesday or not. Sorry. maybe not. I don't know.
Sometimes you gotta play it by ear, fly by the seat of your pants. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that part. So
exactly.
Yeah. So thank you, Chavez. I texted him this morning and I was like, please. And thank you for
I'm always here. If I'm available, I will be available.
I appreciate it. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, tell a friend. Again, sorry, I'm not sure about next Wednesday. We're gonna be playing it by ear. So
definitely like and subscribe.
Yes, there you go. All right. Thank you, Chavez. Thanks everyone for watching. We will. Okay, wait. I know. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to use Antoine's. Toodles. 2-minute break.
Nice.
And of course, it's still not trying to end. I'll say, there we go. Like,